Alright guys, here's my weekly recap. I started off the week with the biggest win of my career. I started with SAVA. Came up here, I saw it topping out. I shorted. It kept popping. I got nervous. I cut it off. Uh, I didn't want it to squeeze against me. It was higher price stock, so I had to have a tighter stop. Uh, Came back up here. I shorted again. Uh, I almost did take it off here, but I saw it pop up and then instantly stuff. Uh, Went stuffed. It came all the way down here. I covered half, and then I just held this thing because during pre-market I'm only using fourth size, so I really had no size whatsoever on this thing, and there wasn't really any great spots to add except for uh, right here was perfect. I missed it, uh, and so I held this thing all the way down here to 670. Uh, Best trade of my career, easily. Um, Even with like no size whatsoever, because this had such huge range. I mean, I took this thing for $1.30. I mean, that's amazing to me at least. So, but then I had the next day I came back and traded PSTV. I got this thing in pre-market. Came up, I saw it have a stuff here. Came up, I saw lower highs. I almost shorted right here, but it came back up. I shorted around this stuff. The problem is it started holding the 9 EMA and VWAP. I need to start watching that because this isn't the first time that VWAP's held during pre-market. I started curling up. I cut it off right at the top of this candle. It went up. I drew my trend line. I shorted right here on the pop at 405, anticipating the fell of the trend line. When it dropped down, but then it started curling back up, and I started getting nervous. I didn't know if this was gonna rip past, and I already had this loss. I didn't want to have a bigger loss. I cut it off. I would have definitely cut it off right here. Or at least I would like to think I would have cut it off right here because I should have, and then just fell all the way down. But then on the same day, started trading Sava, which would have a very big love-hate relationship going on. That's for sure. So, uh, oh yeah, I talked about that. That was the first trade. But where is the next trade? Oh, I did trade Sava on the same day. I traded over. That's right. Traded this thing like 3 times this week. Popped up here on the day two. I shorted it above my indicator. It washed, and what I should have done is I should have had my risk break even. Once it has a wash, uh, I don't then have my risk be what it normally was, which up here is a little bit high, anyways. But I should have just had it be like the relative high when I shorted it. So I shorted actually on the weakness anyways. Uh, Recovered. I never should have added to the short here. I should just cut it off, but I cut it off up here. Um, that gave me a loss. I then had this trade, and I had a good short here. I had a good cover down here. But then when I did all this stuff, this took away what I had here because over here I'm only using fourth size. So even though this was a huge move, it was only fourth size. So up here when I'm going full size, it doesn't look like it's that much, but I'm timesing it by 4, and it basically took back all the profits that I got from this. So then I kind of came back and I started trading KODK, which is outside of my trading range. I typically don't trade after 10:30. So once it hit past this point, I'm usually done. But I I got in my head. I saw my mentor make a tweet saying that the greatest traders can take a big loss and kind of collect themselves and get back their account size. But I think I took it wrong, and he wasn't meaning like a revenge trade. He was meaning that they can step back, they can accept the loss, they can reevaluate their mistakes, and they can you know get back to trading well. Well, I took that as I was going to win back my loss. So when it came up here, I shorted a little bit early. I was anticipating it. I cut it off since I already got in my head that I was gonna trade. I was like, well, if you're gonna send this to Jay, you're not gonna send him a another even bigger loss. So then I shorted here and here for break-even trades, which I should never have taken. There was no range in between this at all. It was just consolidating. When it finally popped up here and I started seeing it have a resistance at 870, I shorted just below 868, risking 870. Came down, I covered half, covered again when I started seeing it bottom out at 835, and then when it dropped down here, I saw this support. I cut off the rest of it, and I did get my loss back. I still had a very small win. This basically took back my mistake on Sava, but I feel like it kind of uh, opened the gates for me to try to not revenge trade, but try to get my losses back. Because the next day after I had this trade, I was like, oh, I got KODK covered. I can trade this thing, no problem. I came back and had the biggest loss of my career. So on day 2, this thing pops up. That's my indicator. I want to short above this black line. I shorted, and it just ripped. And I started, oh, it's going to go down, it's going to go down, it's going to go down, because I just had this win over here on the trade. I thought that, I had this stock figured out, and I was completely wrong, because shorted here, covered here, shorted here, covered here, shorted here, covered here, shorted here, covered here. Basically, I'm just chasing this thing. I got FOMO, and I just went just crazy on this thing. Luckily, for me, I was only trading with fourth size on this, but this week I went up in size, so this is twice as big of a size as I was trading last week. So these little cuts add up. This one is not a little cut. This is absolutely ridiculous. Like, this should have, at the absolute worst, should have been cut off here, not here. This is way, way too big. That's why I made a rule that if I have 2 cuts, I have to walk away, get away, kind of refresh before coming back to the stock market. If I miss the trade, I miss the trade. I would much rather miss a trade and have a smaller loss than keep on doing this kind of stuff, because it it set me up to have the biggest loss of my career because after I did this, I was so pissed off because I finally found the top of this thing, came all the way down here, I covered half, it popped back up, I re-shorted half, I covered half, and I had a great trade uh on this thing, and I was pissed because I had this great trade and then these horrible trades. It just completely took away everything I had, and I was just like, man, I don't want to just walk away from today with this loss. So when it popped back up, I shorted prematurely. I added to a trade, which is completely wrong. That brings in another rule that I added. If I do short below this pink indicator, that my risk is just low. I don't add to the position. It's a bad habit that I picked up from the last the last room that I was in, trying to learn how to trade. They always add so that way your average is in the middle, and it helps your average, is what the guy used to say. But it's complete horseshit, basically. But I covered up here. Uh, let this thing run too far away from me. I saw it top out here. It came up. I shorted here. I should have had my risk here at tops. I was basically just praying that this thing worked out. It hit 9 and then just squeezed, and the volume just came flying in, and I got a bad, not a bad feel, but like, I mean, I should have anticipated this. I should have seen this coming. But that's why I'm doing paper trading, and why I'm mentoring, and why I'm doing these recaps so I can kind of burn this into my head. It came back down. I shorted down here, found support, and started pushing again. And I finally cut it off break even, and I remember just being completely brain dead because at the same time that I'm trading this thing, I'm also trading Mayo, and I have two stocks going on. One's the worst trade of my career, and I just I didn't have the brain power to kind of deal with all the emotions and everything that kind of goes with trading. This popped up. I shorted. I had a great cover down here. It came up. I shorted again. I thought I was going to reject this area. Uh, I should have covered here because back to the rule that I made. If I do short here, that my risk is just above. I don't add to my position. But I just let this thing go all the way up here before I finally covered, and that's just horrible, horrible risk management. I think that my trade on KODK uh, after this, I was just completely mentally just done. That I should just walked away, but I didn't. Then came back to my old friend today on Sava, and I got in this thing pre-market. Uh, I shorted right here at 9. I saw it pop up to 9. It looked like it dropped under. I thought it was going to fail 9, and so I shorted. I covered at my max risk 15 cents, or just around 15 cents. It then started topping out, and so I shorted on this candle, risking this high. Came back down. I cut it off break even, which was good, but Then we came over here to open, and so I saw this thing coming up, saw it topping out right here, came up, I saw it pop up, and it came back down. I thought it was going to fail below the 9. I shorted, anticipating it to fall under the 9. Uh, it did fall under the 9, or just under where I shorted, and then it just pushed. I covered with a tight risk. Uh, Popped up here, came back down. It hit and then pushed back up. When it had a lower high, I shorted again. I covered here, and then basically I was just chasing. Break even, break even, break even. And it came out to like these don't look like they're that big, but like with you know range like that, it takes just you know these if they weren't break even, they were within like 2-3 cents, but like it adds up quickly, and it just too many paper cuts. But I mean, I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 trades, plus pre-market trade. I was over trading. I was keeping a tight risk, which I'm happy with, but still I over traded it. I had this good trade, luckily, uh, but I also traded it wrong because I kind of got confused on because when I was looking at it, it only had like a 7% pullback, but then right before open, it came down here to 13%. So I was kind of conflicted. I started looking at a couple of my indicators, and I was looking for an area to short into, like right in this area. I shorted right here at 213. I added at 216, and I cut it off at 219. It popped up here above pre-market highs. When it started falling back down, I shorted. It found support, came back up. I covered break even, then found a topping, came back down. When it started falling pre-market highs again, I shorted, risking that high. I covered down here half. I curled back up to VWAP. I shorted half of what I covered here. Came back up. And I cut off break even. And this is a good trade. Besides this, I never should have been trading this because I should have only been looking for break at the pre-market high because of the pullback wasn't exactly correct for my other setup that I trade. Honestly, I'm not trying to make excuses, but I think that I just have I kind of got like mentally overloaded. I probably should have just taken today off and just watched and learned. And just because I can trade every day doesn't mean I need to trade every day. There's a couple of more experienced guys in the room that keep saying that over and over and over and over, and I just don't listen. I guess because I'm trading paper, I want to have as much practice because when I do go live, I do want to be able to trade all the setups. I want to be able to trade gap and extension, gap and crap, late day fade setups, like all that kind of stuff. I want to have as much experience as possible, and I just think that I need to kind of take a step back and do these things. And every time I do one of these weekly recaps, it helps me, and then I go back and rewatch it, and I got a bunch of rules in front of my face. I have to read my rules 2 times through before I'm even allowed to take a trade. I just posted them up. today wasn't a horrible day trading. I did keep a tighter risk. It's just I over traded on SAVA, and I this little cut right here uh, kind of took away from the win that I would have had on this, but no, that's why I'm in mentoring, why I'm doing paper. I'm learning slowly, but yeah, this is the weekly recap.